September 2025, the first week of the month, the 1st to the 7th, is a humdinger of energies. Wow. There are going to be some intense things going on in the geopolitical and global situation and the United States in particular. But we're also looking at a month that's beginning with the movement of Saturn into the sign of water. That is Pisces 29 degrees backwards. And that's happening on September 1st. And that's going to initiate a cycle that lasts until February 14th of next year, where individually we're going to go back and complete a karmic lesson that we've been trying to learn since 2023 in the Pisces whole sign part of our natal sky. So this is where you're going to have to know your chart. When we do the all signs, I'll be teaching you how to dig into this karmic last gasp lesson that won't be back for 29 and a half years. So it's important to understand that lesson, what Pisces Saturn was teaching us since 2023. That's Pisces, my second house of money, resources, and income. Saturn taught me how to actually make a corporation instead of taking personal tax rates on my business. So it's not always a bad thing, but Saturn is a wise one. When he's doing a good job, he's giving you wisdom. We'll be talking about that Saturnian structure and wisdom for your sign in the all signs portion after the world astrology section. You can always jump to your timestamps. Are you new here? Welcome. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothian. Using the whole sign house system, fixed stars, minor asteroids are always in my storyline. That's why we're bringing in Icarus, somebody who falls from power, and also Ceto, the sea monsters. We'll see some stories about sea monsters coming up in this week ahead. Maybe even undersea discoveries, but certainly turbulent seas and weather and flooding and unfortunately hurricanes coming into the big story in the first week of September, but even throughout the entire month of September. You know, one thing I want to bring your attention to as well is that I'm giving you general astrology for your sign and for the world. I'm talking about general tendencies. If you really want to be more specific, you know, to time your best life by reading your own natal chart, try my Sky Reader class coming up September 27th. This is my sixth time teaching, sixth class. So that's called Sky Reader 6.0. New content every time I teach it. But it's the basic same course. Learn how to understand the natal sky, read the language of astrology, and then apply a couple of very simple and easy timing tools that I can give you without having to give you a whole year-long learning course in astrology. This is a fun course. It's meant to be bringing you together with other astrological, curiously oriented folks. We run till November 1st. There are weekly Q&As. So if you can't make the live class in your time zone, you can come ask me questions in the Q&A. The material's yours forever to keep house in my teaching platform. The replay, if you don't make the class, is available the same day. I have guest teachers teaching 4 modules on everything from relocation astrology, Sabian symbols, zodiacal releasing, an advanced tool for some of you who'd like to learn more about that. But my main course is that 6 weeks class. And if you want to meet me in the Facebook group or the Discord group, I'll be in and out. But there's also, more importantly, a place to meet other students, to form study groups, and to have fun with those people who are learning astrology with you. Let's get going. And away from that, in the description box is the enrollment link. Use Sky 20, Sky 20, SKY, all caps 20 for 20% off the already affordable price, if I do say so. And that code will expire midnight on Friday. Oh, not Friday, on September 7th. That might be a Sunday. All right, so let's get going and look at the sky and talk about it. Before I bring your attention to the chart and what I see going on there, I will mention a few general feelings I have about it. I just got a demonetization flag. They weren't going to let me advertise something. I mean, on a video I made for you guys. And so I had to scoot that video on my September overview to my Patreon community, where I'm often able to express things I can't safely express on YouTube. But if you go back 16 years ago to the fall, to the month of September, certain events occurred that shocked the world. There's a bit of a kind of vibe going on, not just the first week of September, first and last week of September, but maybe all of September, for some kind of calamitous, shocking event that could be a little bit like 16 years ago in the fall. I can't name this time frame. It'll be another monetization flag. So there is that. I'm just going to say it doesn't necessarily, I'll give it a 70% likelihood of being true. But it is in there. And it's also connected to Venus and Jupiter conjuncting last month in such a way that they did just before the events of 16 years ago in the month of September. So there's some correlations. The sun of the United States of America is where the Jupiter-Venus conjunction happened on the dog star Sirius. And Venus is in her warrior mode, and there can be some challenges there. Donald Trump's health is looking pretty difficult in the month of September. I already covered that on a couple other videos, but it could be that first week or last week of September, or around the Mercury Cazimi of the 12th and 13th, we hear some startling news about his physical wellness. Mars is traveling through the sign of the kidneys for him. And we've got Hygeia now just sliding into the house of hospitals in his natal chart. She'll be there till the end of the year, and then she slips back out for a while. So again, I'd say a big priority the month of September, but even this first week with Mercury coming into a square to Uranus is shocking and surprising news about the vitality of Donald Trump. Some other things that might occur on the world stage in this week ahead is major changes in the Ukraine war. Soon as Saturn left Neptune and stepped away from Aries and back into September 1st, back into Pisces, it kind of uncouples some stuff about Russia's life chart. Russia is often connected to Saturn, Neptune stories and major life changes in the nation itself. And Vladimir Putin is a Scorpio rising with a Mars acceleration that started in 2024 to the House of Neighborhoods, means that he's meant between January of 24 to January of 26, his destiny is to acquire neighboring land. This is just astrology, not my preference. And I'm saying that that war doesn't end until he gets to acquire neighboring land that expires coming up this January, but it's really intense in September, where certain activations on September 22nd, as Mars moves into Scorpio, the sign of Putin's first house, indicates he's going to be fighting very strongly to win something that he wants. And therefore, September 22nd adds 6 weeks. We see that he's highly aggressive in his maneuvers around the war, and Zelensky is in trouble. His chart is a hot darn mess. A lot of people aren't world astrology people. Sometimes I show the chart to tell you all the reasons why, and I might do that, but I'll say a few things. Donald Trump's in trouble because eclipses are squaring his sun, and that's always going to be hard, and his moon. And he's in a big grand crucifixion in the month of September for leadership and power and health, and being stung by the poisonous tail of the Scorpio, Stinger, the star Shala, that sits on Donald Trump's moon in the house of sexual stuff. So he could still get stung in the Epstein scandal, or he could also get poisoned. And poisoning can happen because organs aren't filtering your blood. It doesn't have to be malevolent. So he's in trouble. Zelensky is also in trouble. His rising sign is 21 degrees of Gemini, and that's right on top of Donald Trump's sun. And I always say, people, don't marry somebody whose sun is on your ascendant like that, not right on it, because it's like you're under their light. It's like being under a Klieg light, a high beam, it's too much light. And I don't mean in a good way, even just it's too strong. Like you're looking into you're continually looking into the glare of the sun, right at your face. And the thing with that is that's how that Oval Office, press conference went so south with Zelensky and Trump. Zelensky can't handle Trump. Trump is too bright and hot for him. All right, that's not easy. That's a problem. And Trump recognizes that, so doesn't respect Zelensky at a deeper level. And so Zelensky, with his rising degree, his character in the simulation, also being just like Trump's sun, squared by the eclipses of March behind us, March 30th, Virgo eclipse, which was a lunar eclipse. And now we're having the solar eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees coming up on September 21st. And of course, the Pisces eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces on the 7th, 8th. Both Zelensky and Trump are in this crucible of pressure. And my view is it's not good for either of them. And for Zelensky, he's going to have to fold them because Putin is not going to stop. Putin is going to win when he has the territory he desires to acquire in his legacy move for Russia. Right? He's a Scorpio rising. He was KGB. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of chatter as I record about Odessa. This is a recording for you August 29th, the day Pluto went out of bounds. Whoa, in the sign of Aquarius. This is so intense. How are you guys feeling? That's the 10th house, the top of the sky energetically. Oh my God, my brain. No, sorry. It's the bottom of the sky. It's the 4th house of land and property and real estate for the leader of Russia. And out of bounds means extreme actions, untethered from the sun, wanting a revolution, wanting to take things to a maximum intensity. He wants to take Odessa. This is what we were going to see now. I think we're going to see the aim for Odessa, a port city that if Ukraine loses it, they lose access to their port. And this was a Russian city historically, at least in Putin's mind. So my view is the war story will end by the end of the year. Putin will claim new territory and land. It's in his destiny. It's in the astrology. The exalted Mars in Capricorn for acquiring more land and neighborhoods through war. Then we also have that expires this January, started in January of 24. And he doesn't want to acquire Poland or like Slovenia or something. No, 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 no. That's not in his chart. That's not in his chart. He wants to acquire the homeland. And with Pluto out of bounds, that's what he's going to try to do. And I think he will get the port of Odessa under a certain degree of occupation. He may toss some of it back. You know, it kind of makes me think of, you know, I'll give you some access to it, sort of like Jerusalem is shared, sort of half-assed, was shared between two peoples. So that could happen as a bargaining chip. I think he would get it and then bargain. But this is the astrology. I'm not a geopolitical expert. But I'm looking at that story, not just this first week, but I will say there could be certain events. Pluto just went out of bounds on the 29th of August. And this first few days, the first 7 days of it, with the energy of Jupiter-Pluto square, right? The energy of Mercury activating Uranus, very strong likelihood of some surprising, shocking stories connected to Russia's maneuvers in Ukraine. All right, now, anything else I want to tell you about the world? Why is Zelensky in a hot mess as well? His solar return chart, I'm not going to show, I'm just going to tell you, has a fallen Mars on the midheaven in the 10th house. This literally means a fall from power. He was born, unfortunately, with Icarus in a very delicate position in his chart, and he's having an Icarus return. I'll show you the chart. And then we'll move to your individual sign. And I'll be drawing an oracle card today for you, as well as the astrology, about how you can handle the energy of September 1st through to February 14th as you finish up loose ends and unfinished business in a once every 30-year karmic lesson that you've been trying to learn since 2023. So let me just show you the solar return for Zelensky. He's 47 years old. That's a 12th house profection age. Is he really? Because my math is terrible. Yes, that's a terrible age, by the way. The profection age of the 12th house is not about succeeding. It's about finishing something you need to finish. It's about karma. So I don't think he's going to succeed at whatever he thought he was going to get from this war, just as a saying. For those of you who are like a political astrology, this is your section. So this is a solar return. His ascendant is in Libra, and he's trying to find harmony, balance, and treaties and peace. Okay, that's a possibility, right? Something you would do with that. And Venus is exalted, but not witnessing the ascendant with the hardship of Saturn on his birthday. So there's like kind of like enduring and intense attempt to accomplish something. But with Neptune, the fog of illusion, delusion, Neptune can be a savior complex, a martyr savior. And maybe he's dealing with himself looking like, I'm trying to make peace. I'm a martyr savior. It's my destiny. No, not in a good place in that chart. But more importantly here, I wanted to bring your attention to his sun at 5 degrees of Aquarius. In this position, right, his sun is with Icarus when he was born. There's going to be something in his life where he reaches for the sun. He flies too close to the sun and he begins to melt his wings. It's destined to reach for something. And anything he reaches for, at some point, his wings could melt. Pluto is to reach for power. Now, Pluto is in, sorry, this is a solar return chart. He's going to try to reach for power, and Pluto is going out of bounds as we speak, August 29th. And this is literally not a positive story. So this sun and this Icarus do not bode well for how his reach for power would look for him in this age of 47. But more importantly, his natal sky over that is more daunting. You can see that his Icarus is having an Icarus return. And in his natal chart, Icarus is on his midheaven. What is the midheaven? It's your high noon. This is his 9th house natally. This is like, I want to be an international success story. His whole campaign to win was bolstered by the 7 dwarves, the European Union in particular, but also the USA. And this is a story that is difficult because he again shows falling from power in his career and reputation in this life and in this year. So this is an age where he will be melting. His wings are melting. In the month of October, in particular, around perhaps mid-October, we can see a massive wings meltdown. So I'm going to let you know that may just mean that he loses the whole attempt to win the war. And by mid to late October, it looks like he has completely melted and is falling down. And then into November, it looks just as rottenly bad. He's in a place of great hardship, according to this sky. Now, lastly, his solar return chart has an ascendant in Libra, and he's born with that Libra ascendant. He's a Libra and Pluto generation with a node of fate. Well, guys, that's not a positive story here. Yeah, sure. Jupiter retrograde on the ascendant, the man who would be king, right? Possibly you could say that's a powerful story for him, but it's a retrograde Jupiter, and it's not as powerful for the outer power we seek. It's looking for the inner wisdom and knowledge. And second of all, this is not good, because he's got Pluto with the ascendant of the character he plays. He's acting like, I'm a peacemaker, I'm a deal maker, I'm going to do what's just and right. That's Libra storylines, right? This tells me that approximately, and I'm just saying approximately, probably 4 months from the beginning. So January, February, March, April, May, April, May, his destiny was sealed. I'm not looking at what happened April, May in this war. Someone else tell me, was that the press conference with Trump? Because April, May is where Pluto overwhelms the story for him. It's the beginning of the end. So whatever happened in the US policy toward the war, his own stance in the war, maybe whatever, April, May shows that he's going to die, metaphorically. He's not going to win this story. All right, that's what I've got for you. There's a lot more I could say. I mean, 100 Ways to Sunday, there's a lot to talk about. But when I see Mercury with Juno here, right, this is his natal Mercury with Juno in the sky, right? That's important to understand. That's activating the solar return, 4th house of land and property and real estate, right? That's his 8th house overlapping, hit the 4th house of the solar return chart. And what that means is that there's going to be peace deal making happening for land and property connected to territory that Zelensky considers his home or homeland. And with the 8th house storylines involved, a lot of backroom deals and negotiating might be happening, or secret conversations. But that's also a house where we often feel betrayal. And so even as peace may be foisted upon him under circumstances that he's not fond of, right? That's going to be a peace story. And, I hope I was sharing that. I was like writing all over the screen. I could just looking at it without sharing it. Some news has come out that 1.7 million Ukrainian soldiers are missing or dead. That's a toll. That is a toll that didn't have to happen. Okay. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but basically Putin was offering it out in the first month after the war began. And if, Zelensky said, Ukraine won't become a NATO nation. And then he was going to say, okay, then I'm out of here. I'm taking my troops out. And then Boris Johnson and a representative of the United States, a woman, they all entered in and they convinced him to fight the good fight that, Europe had, and US had their back. And that was the Biden administration. And Trump inherited this mess. And the last thing I want to say about it, not pro-Trump, not pro-Biden. Trump has said publicly recently that he hopes he gets to heaven. He's not sure he's going to make it. He platformed on ending the Ukraine war when he was running for office. He can't end the Israel thing because he's got probably honey trapped by, their intelligence agencies and most of the United States Congress. And so there's no way he has any leverage over the situation there. But where he does have leverage, maybe, is in the situation with Zelensky, because his son is burning Zelensky's ascendant up. He has power over Zelensky that way. And it's very possible that what I'm seeing here in the sky is that he wants to have a legacy move. He knows his health is in jeopardy. He may have a sense of a time limit on functional health wellness, especially if congestive heart failure is a problem. You can take pills for that, diuretics and stuff, which also stress your kidneys out. And that swelling in his leg can be I think toxicity from too many diuretics. I'm not sure. But I will say that, if he's going to try to do anything to get himself that Nobel Peace Prize, it's to get the war over. He doesn't care how much land Putin gets. He just wants to end the war because he said he'd end the war. And that's a win-win on his win-lose metric. So we'll see a lot going on in September, but the first week of September too, because of the sky. Let's go ahead and look at the chart for the world events. And let's do your sign about Saturn moving backwards through Pisces. Yes, the hurricane season will not be a good one this September, October, not with the trying to Ceto, the sea monster. It is not a good one for our kind of, hurricanes for sure. Hurricanes and tsunamis are a risky story as we go into the month of September based on the sky, especially the month of September. So let me open up the share button for you guys, and we'll take a look at our sky, and I'll just show you what I'm seeing, but we're going to do your sign. Here we have the share button, and I believe I am sharing the picture of our heavens right now. By the way, this is kind of set for Scorpio rising. It just happens to be. That could be like, we can think about Putin being a Scorpio rising. Scorpio rising Putin has like moon for home and homeland, and the goddess who would try to make a treaty or agreement, Juno, vestal flame of sacred duty, Icarus, and this energy of the sea monster, or the monsters under the sea, Ceto. All said and done, there's a lot going on for Putin, isn't there? However, Ceto can be like submarines, guys. I'm just going to tell you, a spade. It could be submarines. If there's a submarine Putin Russia story that emerges in the world in the month of September, I would not be surprised. What I was saying about, this is Saturn. He's going to go back the next day like this. Hang in there. It's going to be like, here we go. Here we are, September 1st. That Saturn is flowing to sea monster Ceto energy and Icarus, melting wings falling from the sky. What falls from the sky that could cause problems is my question. Anyone have any ideas in the comments? Could we have literally something falling from the sky, splashing into the water, causing a problem? That's a thought. It's kind of a weird one, that's for sure. But there is that as well. We also could just have general problems with water, flooding, tsunamis, and most importantly, hurricanes. Then also, I just want to say, like, it doesn't help that we also have Hygeia here. She's moving here till the end of the year, and then she moves backwards into Gemini again. This is not good for Donald Trump. It's in the house of hospitals for him. And so health challenges, hospitals, medical assistance, all going on for Trump at this time. Finally, one more thing to note, the whole Zelensky thing is so complicated, but Zelensky has literally he's got 3 planets in Leo, which is going to align a lot of his energy up with Donald Trump. But he has his moon at 17 Leo, but he has his Mars at early Leo. And what other planet in Leo? He has 3 planets in Leo. Now my brain's not remembering which ones. He highly activates Donald Trump's ascendant, and not in a good way. Mars in Donald Trump's first house, it means our natural enemies. Okay, natural enemies. So Trump doesn't really want to help. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you, Trump doesn't really want to help Zelensky because their astrology is not good. He respects Putin. He doesn't respect Zelensky, and that's part of what's going on in the back end of that story. And this is ongoing, okay? This is Orcus, the Punisher of Broken Oaths. And that's going to be about the South Node Virgo story. And that would be like Netanyahu, the leadership of Israel. These are Virgo placements. Netanyahu's midheaven is here. He's looking like really beleaguered, loss of power by the next 4 months, or loss of stature, but also health challenges for him. And next thing in Punisher of Broken Oaths is just to punish someone who defies the promises they made, and Punisher people who do bad deeds as well. And the energy is there. And there's another asteroid tracking through the sky right now called Tisiphone. And that's also about one of the 12 furies of the Greek, 3 furies of the Greek story, and that fury that punishes people who do wanton murder. And so there's a lot going on about the punishment of war crimes in the month of September. Finally, the Sphinx is here in Capricorn, and there's a lot going on with the Italian scientists who've been finding with satellite X-ray technology that there's not only stuff under Giza, but the Sphinx. I do not know for sure, but it could be that this month is going to activate some surprising news stories about the Sphinx, as Mercury will around September the 12th and 13th come into the heart of the sun and square and trine the Sphinx in the sky. Shocking news stories about something under the Sphinx or the origins of human civilization. Those are some exciting possibilities in the month of September. Let's go ahead and do your sign as we talk about Saturn moving backwards into Pisces on September the 1st through to February 14th of next year, and what this is for you and your karma. For the world, it's different. It depends on what Pisces is for the world stories, for like the nation of Israel, for example, or well, let's not even go there. I'm so tired of that story. It just exhausts me. For Netanyahu, it's going to be Saturn in a place of hardship connected to matters of opposing his career success. And so there's going to be, even with the September eclipse, a lot of problems with homeland, hardship, challenges to do with his career based on that transit through to February 14th. It's not easy for him at this time. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Aries. Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing, but also so you help my channel grow. Why? Because YouTube's AI slop is reducing our traction as original content creators. A lot of my fellow content creators are talking about this behind the scenes. My my YouTube managers mentioned it to me. There's a problem. There's a lot of subscriptions that are being diluted because people are subscribing to AI channels and not even knowing that it's an AI channel, which is basically it's halftime full of AI hallucinations and garbage, right? So for us original content creators still plowing away and plugging away, please hit that like button and subscribe. If you're new to my channel, especially, give me a try. If you don't like my stuff, that's okay. And then you can unsubscribe. Let's talk about this for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. So the transit of Saturn retrograding into the sign of Pisces on September the 1st will indicate a need to go back and look at things that you were investigating all the way back, starting in March of 23, when Saturn entered here, to do with your own self-undoing. And that's a vague word. I get it. So what does self-undoing mean? It means that you're your own worst enemy in some way. You might sabotage your life. You might drink too much, might have substance addictions or misuse disorders. You might have childhood programming or karmic patterns that hold you back, a vow of chastity, a vow of poverty in another life, or things mom and dad told you that you thought were true, but you never questioned the family system stories that hold you back from something in your life. You just take them for granted, or even just the childhood traumas. So long story short, every 30 years or so, you get a chance for 3 years in every 30 to clear this story up, to do some housekeeping here. And Lord Saturn says, do it in solitude. Man, this is the hermit in the cave, and this is the solitude planet, and he likes his aloneness. And your saluditus, aloneness, is solace and goodness. So often this can indicate a time in which you choose to spend more time alone. You may also choose to travel to far off distant lands and shores that are useful for your solitude and wisdom to accumulate more strength. This will be true, of course, till February the 14th. As he's here and he slides back in this first week, you get the feeling of something's changed. And what's changed is you're no longer feeling Saturn's heaviness on your Aries sun, which is career and purpose, your Aries moon, things to do with your emotions and your home. But Aries rising, the simulation avatar, in this matrix, that is basically your whole sense of being feels less heavy. I can't wait though, because I have a Saturn moon and a Saturn sun. I mean, I have an Aries sun and an Aries moon and a Saturn ingress here. Oh my God, it's felt heavy. So, we've all been dealing. Well, let me go back. Sorry, I should have been more clear. Sorry about that. So if you are the Aries of the sky, right? And I know, boy, we've been going through some stuff. We just got out of the eclipses. We've been feeling this energy around May the 27th as Saturn entered our sign, and now he's leaving. So we feel like, whew, what a relief. That feels so less heavy. And, even around July 16th, he started going retrograde. Was it July 16th? July 13th, he went retrograde. It felt a little bit less heavy. But you got to imagine, the end of May through till now, Saturn's in our sign. So especially you, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, with placements in early Aries, but we still all feel it no matter what. It just feels heavy. It feels difficult. It feels like sober-minded, realistic, pessimistic, melancholic, anxious energy. And that's going away. So breath of fresh air on September 1st through to next February, we feel fresh and we feel unburdened. But then we're going to dig into our closet to get rid of those addictions, self-undoing bad habits and patterns, to revise our reality from the inside out, go within or go without. You might get a spiritual guide, mentor, wisdom teacher off of this story as well. Let me take off the midheaven and all of that. We don't need that in the sky, quite clearly, because we're not doing that kind of astrology, right? So let's take that stuff out of the mix. One thing I'd say about feeling the Saturnian retrograde pattern, he's retrograde, and that makes it a little bit easier than it would be otherwise. And I'm not going to over belabor it, but I think letting go of an addiction, a self-undoing, a bad habit, or a pattern may feel to you like it's not that difficult all of the sudden. If you want to clean up your act, right, you might find you can do it with less challenge. And of course, Saturn will be co-present with both eclipses in the month of September. So you will find that these eclipses are really going to have a different flavor than simply Saturn since 2023 in your 12th house. Starting in 2023, though, think about all the 12th house things that you began to work on. One meaning of the 12th house is it can involve things to do with money made from international sources. And that's to structure those sources responsibly. So for me, I make international money through YouTube and Patreon and my clients. And I structured that money by getting incorporated. So, to save that money, to structure it, to conserve that money that you may have made because you work for an international company, your income comes from international sources as well. All right, now what I'm going to do is pull a card for every sign, and we're going to get something for you from the Animal Spirit Guidebook. And I keep forgetting to frigging set this up so I'm not like reversed. Let's see if it's too late, because I realize it used to be my default setting, just like so that when I show you something, we're not like backwards. I don't know if I can do it now that I've started. Mirror my video. Is that the problem? That's better. Sorry about that. The Animal Spirit book by this wonderful person, the Wild Unknown. Can't remember her name. Kim Kranz. So everyone's going to get a card for how to handle this story between September the 1st and February the 14th. Okay. I just did the Jeff Mara podcast this morning. So it's coming out mid-September. I'll let you guys know when. We had a great discussion, the Jeff Mara podcast. Here we go. Octopus. How do you handle this transit through Saturn, through your last gasp of karmic lessons, through your 12th house? Let's see what the octopus is about, according to Kim Kranz. Obviously, it looks like it's a water being. And it says, reaching, yearning. Okay, keywords are reaching, yearning, lacking boundaries or direction. When you're in balance, you are. So how to deal with Saturn in the 12th house through to next February 14th is the point I'm trying to make, right? So it talks about octopus being wonderfully perceptive and paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. So as being an empath, a highly sensitive person, maybe like me, autistic spectrum, that's kind of normal for a lot of us. So we have to watch to keep the boundaries working, right? In a good way, not putting our tentacles out to other people's storylines. So it says, if you notice you feel drained after spending time with someone, don't do it. Well, this is the 12th house of isolation. So yes, normally you might get involved with everybody's hot mess. This is you pulling your tentacles into the 12th house of isolation and not doing that between now and February. I don't care if it's your kid, your lover, your friends. Get your tentacles out of their business. When you're in balance during this time, we Aries folk are interested, engaged, and intelligent. And if we're out of balance, we are needy and clingy and lack courage. And to bring ourselves into balance, we will have to have space to oneself. You can't make this up. Yes, we need to be alone. We need space to ourselves. It's true. My partner just went back to the United States. Thank goodness I'm going into this salutedness Saturnian 12th house story. So to bring ourselves into balance, we need space to ourselves and we need talk therapy. Talk therapy. I just talk to myself. I have my own talk therapist. All right. Moving on to Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Remember, your sun is your soul and represents purpose and career. Reason for incarnation, really. Your rising sign Taurus is anything about your avatar in the game of life, the simulation character you play. And of course, you Taurians who are moon, that's how you feel and think about your life emotionally and mentally, but it's also matters of home and nest. Okay, so we're moving into Taurus and we're going to talk about, oh, come on, really? Sorry, guys. Hours. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Obviously, since 2023 March, you've been trying to learn a lesson about Pisces, 11th house, friends, social networks, allies, and benefactors. Now, Saturn made that difficult. He weaned away people from your life. He cut some away. They moved away. There was distance that grew between you and other people that you were friends with. You also may have noticed that it was making a hardship happen when it came to financial profitability for one's career. He is the god of constraint, and you might have found that your career abilities to earn money were not as good as they normally were. You worked hard for your money. And also you might have found hardship in the earning of that money from your 10th house of career. You might have felt like this is really hard. Maybe I feel I'm not even making enough. It feels like a scarcity. So that's a story that you might have been going through, grinding that way ever since 2023, March. Now, Saturn left here and took a hiatus at the end of May to give you a break where you might have felt a little bit more optimistic about some of these things. And he moved instead into your 12th house. And that's a story you're going to learn a lot more about starting next February when he gets back there. So we'll save that story. You might be learning about limiting yourself, controlling yourself when it comes to addictions and self-undoing. And you're going to take a break from definitely trying to work that story, right? Letting that one go. And you know, and may have also involved legal hardships for some of you. But Saturn now is going to go back and finish up sort of karmatically what he started in that friendship and social group circle. And, you know, Saturn wants to bring wisdom here. You know, it's not just about what you let go of, it's what's left standing, what friends and groups of belonging are worthy of your discriminating attention. And you might join new groups that are more structured, clubs, organizations, groups of some kind, coming out of the house of self-undoing. You know, it could be Narcotics Anonymous. You know what I mean? You might find yourself in a structured wisdom group around recovery. But whatever it is, you're going to be choosing different kinds of groups to belong to now. You know what you need and want. You're going back to finish the job between September 1st and early mid-February of next year. And with eclipses here, it's all very intense and very destined. And I will give you one thing. If a particular ally, benefactor, or friend exits stage left, there's no more of that person in your life, or there's intense completions with a sibling one older than you, relax. It is karmic. It is destined. It is in the sky. Those are the grand finale endings that must happen. If you change the earning structure between now and February for a less difficult way to be profitable in your career, and the North Node wants to expand your profitability, it could be a significant change in the career, the job, or the position you hold within it between now and February. So let us go ahead and let us address what card is speaking to you from the Kim Krans Oracle deck about this, not just this week ahead, but this September 1st to February. I don't know how to label this video so that people don't, I have to probably label it as a bigger story than the week ahead. The unicorn, the unicorn. Oh my God, that's a special card. It's not an animal, obviously, right? So Kim Krans has these like mystical beings in the deck. What the hell? Yeah. I still haven't figured out why it's on autofocus. If it's my laptop camera or the software on Zoom, I upgraded to, but I can't change it. I can't find anywhere to change it. Let's go ahead and check out the good old unicorn. That's like a third eye energy, right? Right. Reconnecting to higher wisdom or divinity. When Saturn goes back to your 12th house next year, and will be there for almost 3 years, 2.5 more years, you will be plowing into spiritual enlightenment, connecting to your soul, connecting deeper to your inner life. You know, that's going to happen. So, but here it says, sometimes it's hard to see or think of a unicorn without questioning, is it real? The mind answers maybe, or maybe it could be, or no way. This contemplation itself explains our relationship to divinity and encapsulates our wavering belief in the unicorn. We wonder what divinity is. We wonder where our intuition comes from and if we can really trust it. We think about a higher power and our mind hesitates between yes, no, and maybe. Is it male? Is it female? Does it have a name? Is it just a feeling? The unicorn card appears and wakes us up to curiosity about the higher self and the divine. It's a card of questioning, exploring, contemplating the inexplicable. Now, you still have Neptune in your 12th house, and that's very much what this is like. But with Saturn in the 11th, you might get involved in a mystical spiritual community or group that allows you to discover some of this God energy. Okay. It's good for your third eye, mind's eye, and tuning in to your inner knowing through your ancient pineal gland receptors of intuitive understanding, not linear thinking or emotional feeling. Thanks for that. I'm wishing you the best, Taurus. Let's keep on going. What time is it? Oh my goodness. All right. I had to start this whole video over as well, by the way. Lately, I'm having those glitches. It wasn't recording and I thought it was. Gemini, sun, moon, rising sign people. Okay, first of all, I would say, like, I'm a Gemini progressed sun. I always mention that, but you know, your progressed planets, a degree a year from time of birth, for example, are not as powerfully important as your natal placements, but still you can consider that. So Gemini energy. We have this energy going on of Saturn going back to our 10th house of career and public standing and social status and reputation and what people see us doing in the world. And Saturn entered there in 2023, and that could indicate that you're going to be noticed in the world for being an authority, an expert. You're going to capitalize on mastery in your career. You're going to climb to the top of a mountain. It doesn't always mean you stay on that mountaintop. Once you're at the peak, you want to go back down. And so there's an energy of what he's doing here is coming back to say, what areas of success in career and reputation do you want to keep, and what are you ready to let go of? He is a grim reaper. He will cut and reap and end, like the death archetype, what is no longer needed in that career space. And that includes matters to do with one's like social standing. I'm widowed, I'm divorced, I'm married, I'm single. Changes that are wise and true will be already known to you. And now you might begin to publicly acknowledge those to the world. And finally, Saturn up here could indicate between September 1st and February, right? 14th, when he's back in this part of your sky with the north nodes of fate and the eclipses here, especially the eclipse of the 7th of September, that you're ready to expand into some new kind of career success, but it indicates culling and ending other areas that are no longer useful. And although it's happening in September, it kind of bakes in a vibe that will likely influence your life for 6 months after. And Saturn in this part of the sky may indicate karmic and destined opportunities connected to career that are sourced in the past, bosses from the past, jobs you've done in the past, people you've known in the past, coming back to offer you something. And I don't mind this at all. I mean, because things that come from our past, Jupiter is trining from the house of earnings and resources. So by claiming an older path of career mastery and returning to it, some of us Geminis may find ourselves experiencing some profitability as well. Ow. Never mind. I'm not going to talk about what just happened to my leg. I'm just going to put it up here. So let's go ahead and draw a card from Kim Kranz, the Animal Oracle deck. Did it do that weird thing for you guys? I just maximized myself. I don't think it should make kind of weird things happen, but it might. So Kim Kranz, what animal oracle spirit works with you during this time? Oh, the lion. Well, I don't know what she says about the lion yet. I'll read it. But to me, of course, it's very much about solar energy, where we lead, where we're at the top of our career game, where we perform, where we get creative and expressive. Lion energy. So lion, patient, regal, and a complete master. Got that one. I said mastery and authority, Saturn in the 10th house. So that's a complete master energy. The lion is a master of the fire element, the living mascot of self-transformation. A lion personality dedicates their life to personal and spiritual growth. This dedication inspires some, intimidates others, and therefore the lion is respected. We get the respect, too, of being visibly seen in the 10th house of the sky if we're doing a great job, right? Respected by all, but known intimately by few. And some mistake the lion as hard to access or aloof, but with a keener eye, people know better. Lions are observant, stealth, precise in their word, and precise in their action. They don't waste energy. They don't waste resources. This card reminds us that self-mastery is available, no matter where our quest begins. Now, the keywords for the next few months, September through to February, mid-February. Dealing with Saturn coming back to our 10th house. When in balance, the epitome of peace and strength. Out of balance, you withdraw and you are too serious. And to bring yourself into balance, you need daily meditation and friendship. Okay. Kamala Harris had this transit activated. She's a Gemini rising when she did not win the election. Because Saturn brings endings and hardship and completions as much as he brings something else. And now that Saturn goes back, we might see Kamala Harris stepping into the new cycle as saying, here I am, this is what I'm doing next. That could be something we could anticipate in this kind of political sky too, for the Gemini rising politician, Kamala Harris. All right. Was I even sharing during that entire thing? Because my share button is disappeared. There it is. Oh my God. All right, moving on to the next sign. Guess what, Cancer? Major changes coming here because you're going to finish up a karmic story of your ninth house. And your ninth house is now destined and fated to expand with the eclipses. You might now begin to look at successful new expansion, but also reinvestigating your stories around God, religion, faith, ideology, and belief. Importantly as well, the ninth house is about your dharma, and you want to be authentically masterful in something you're also purposeful and meaningfully engaged in your career. Saturn retrograde will have you rethink that between September 1st and mid-February, have you remove what's not needed and leave what's best. Some of you might have situations of finalizing legal and court matters, finalizing travel, international destinations and visas and passports, and also maybe having a bit of hardship when it comes to those things. Because sometimes when Saturn is here, you want to go travel abroad or you want to take a trip and there's some compression there. There's some constriction. But also Saturn can bring into your life somebody who's wise, somebody who's a guide, a mentor, a sage, someone with a North Node that's a destined support structure for you because you're telling them what you need. They're like your advisor to the king, the hand of the king. And so that those kinds of advisory folks show up more often, and they're not counselors, coaches, and stuff with Saturn here. And you might be getting some new destined support in your life. If you're in the book publishing industry, Saturn can offer you some kind of contract with a traditional publisher. And because he's retrograde, it could be things that were there in the past returning, maybe some deals that never materialized, right? Or lastly, the ninth house is very fortunate. It's one of the luck houses as well as the Dharma houses. North Node expands worldly success. You might be engaging in sort of an international worldly success story, something you're doing dripping into international exposure or worldly international success, especially with lucky Jupiter in your first house. All right. So there's just another story going on there as well. And I do like that story for some of you for whom that might make some sense. Jupiter is telling Saturn what to do from his exaltation in your sign, right? Not too shabby. Shall we draw a card for you connected to oh, wrong deck. Connected to the story. What could be going on for you guys that you have this like coolio dharmic intensity in a very lucky Lakshmi house with Saturn finishing up a job he started in 2023? The turtle. Oh, I don't know. I just like turtle energy. I love turtles. Okay, turtle. I know in some traditions it's about longevity. Turtle, what do you have to tell our Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising about handling the Saturn transit through till February 15th? Turtle, you are a water beastie. Let's see if I can find it without taking forever. She doesn't order them in alphabetical order, I will tell you that much. So it's really just the luck of me sifting through the deck. I think Turtle gets to be near the end because she puts what she thinks are higher energy animals further in. Turtle, whale, dolphin. Come on, turtle, swan, otters, and sharks and beavers. It's going to take me a while. There's no easy way to do this without pausing the recording to find a turtle. Ancient soul, grounded and trusting, at home in the self. I like that. It's wonderful to be in the presence of turtle. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship to the earth, to water elements. Yes, well, Saturn's in water. To ground, it helps to ground and connect to the deeper truths of life, no matter where your travels lead you. So travels lead you is interesting because the ninth house activates the travel house, right? So traveling, short or long distance. The turtle energy is behind all great writers and all great storytellers. And this is a house of book publishing activating the third house of writing. So I do know a few Cancers who are in that industry. This is wonderful for you. And as writers and storytellers, because they collect life experiences under their shell for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all the other books and begin to tell our own true tale. So if you're in balance during these months ahead till February, you are peaceful, adventurous, and productive. But when you're out of balance, you'll find yourself slowing down to a halt. Yeah, good old inertia. And to bring yourself into balance, you need an adventure. Okay, well, it is the travel house, but the retrograde certainly can indicate wanting to go back to a place you've been before, right? That's another way of parsing that. All right, past lives or this life, coming back to a place you've traveled before. Hey, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Looks like we've got a big story going on here because we have the Saturn ingress into your 8th house of chunky money. This is money you don't earn. This is money that you can have through investments, tax rebates, money shared with a partner, money through money making money through the sale of a home sometimes, money through inheritances, and world of success and expansion of that money with the North Node here. Saturn transiting here is going to bring you more money, but money that can go the distance and that can last. I wonder if you are an occultist and you're trying to achieve mastery to be the perfect tarot reader, the perfect talk to dead people, the perfect, paranormal expert. There is something about going back and finishing up that business that you've been working on since 2023. With Saturn up here definitely flowing to Juno in the 4th house, there is a potential that this will have some of you move your home by selling your property. And that's a story that is conceivable, or renting your home out or renting another home. So those are things I see for some of you Leos over the course of the months that follow until February of this year. I would say Jupiter says, yes, he blesses you to actually take a journey to a far offshore or land with resources and money that you have, but also maybe to move that home because it's an invitation to change where you live. I don't know that you are. This is a karmic house with a karmic planet. I'm going to keep it simple, but in 2023, March through to February of next year, the story has been to work on breaking the shackles of karmic patterns and karmic stories in your life already. And technically, your most karmic planet natally for you guys will be Jupiter. And so in some regards, having Jupiter as a general transiting planet supporting Saturn in this karmic breakdown, break free energy, I think a lot of you are going to extricate yourself from family of origin, ancestral, and karmic patterns as the grand finale happens over the course of the next few months. September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months. All right, let's take a look at the card that Kim Kranz has for you. And she's got the bat. Oh my God, I don't know what that is, but it does seem like an 8th house story, right? Bat, bat, bat. The 8th house is very Halloween spooky, right? It's very bat. Let's see what this is about. This is a flying animal section. Obviously, it's a bat, doth fly, and it's not a hawk, not a peacock, it's not a crow. It's not a vulture. Where did she put the old bat? All right, here we go. Darkness. Halo, darkness, my old friend. 8th house is one of the hidden houses, the dark houses. A darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Okay, I didn't say this, but the 8th house is the death house. You're not going to die. But it could indicate the death of somebody you know, especially Saturn could be an elder, but the death of someone in your life, in your family system, perhaps, in your family of origin. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise in the darkness. It can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. Bat's a master of the subtle senses. Yes, this is the 8th house of your psychic abilities and stuff, occult mystery. Underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and fade. And, again, we get money out of the 8th house. Bat shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In a few hours or a few day dawns, no more lingering in the past. Saturn activates your 4th house of childhood. So no more lingering in the past and your 12th house of past lives. When you're in balance under this energy in the next 6 months, you accept, adapt, and adjust. Out of balance, you refuse to let go and you reminisce about the past. And bring yourself into balance. You need to watch the sunrise. Okay. So let's keep on keeping on. And we're going to talk about the next sign. Before I do that, I might go get myself a titch of chocolate to survive through this longer video. So let me do one more sign, then we'll have a chocolate break. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Well, hey, Saturn, in 2023 began to play with your marriage house. And that's always a testing of the strength of the marriage or the long-term love story that you're in. If you weren't in one, you probably met someone who was a karmic relationship since 23. It involves maybe an age difference of 6 or 7 years younger or older. But those of you in or not in, this is the last chance saloon for 30 years where Saturn is coming back to test the relationship. September 1st to February the 15th. If you're in a long-term love story and it's not for you, if it's not going to work out, Saturn is like your home inspector telling you the foundation is cracked, or your car inspector says the engine block is cracked. It is a done deal. You can't live with a broken story. So this is your chance to figure it out. The Node of Fate is giving you destined changes in long-term love. If you meet someone new under this, it's not impossible for the next 6 months. It's fated, destined, karmic, and there may be a past life connection. Having Saturn in this place in a flow to Jupiter can also indicate an expansion of your success in your career prosperity and your earnings because of new contracts and agreements you make in the job market. And this can include up levels to your current job, raises and promotions, and new terms of service. So should you make it through this period and your relationship sustains itself, Saturn can also give it more legal and formal structures. We're going to move in together. We're going to get married. We're going to, do the thing, sign the prenup. So there's that vibe as well. Now, one last thing, your partner can be Saturn here. Like they're turning into Saturn, controlling, critical of you or just in life. They could become more anxious, fearful, melancholic, and heavy. So watch what your partner in your relationship is doing and how you feel around them as you experience the relationship of this thing, Saturn in your long-term committed love house, through until February, mid-February of next year. So it's intense when Saturn's here once every 30 years. And for those of you who are married, as I said already in a long-term love story, it's always every 30-year testing of the relationship's strength. Swan. Ooh. How was that a swan song? Let's take a look. How to handle this energy. I do love Kim Kranz stuff. I need to set up an Amazon store where you can use my link and I could get some money because you buy my stuff. Like I recommend these books, Swan. I just never got around to it. Goodness gracious, I'm leaving money on the table. Swan, what are you? You're an upside down triangle. I can't find you. And you're dark. Oh my goodness gracious. Swan. I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I'm a little out of it. Last 2 nights I've had really interestingly awkward sleeps. Hey, give me a minute, guys. There we go. Effortless. Your keywords are effortless. This is you through to next year. Effortless creativity, sensitive mystic, and elegant power. The swan represents a heightened creativity, and in Hindu mythology, it's Saraswati, the embodiment of creativity and artistry. It's funny, the moon is in your 5th house of creativity and romance as Saturn retrogrades through your 7th. So it does stimulate your art, your creativity, and your romance to try to get a relationship fired up, that's for sure. This potent and healing energy is not to be taken for granted or taken lightly. When the swan appears, your soul is calling for attention. Self-notice with your Virgo sun, moon, and rising. That's your soul. That's your surrender. That's your divine energy. Leaning into that right now. For this solo time, soul's calling for attention, for solo, alone time. An inner voice is waiting to be heard. An inner vision is likely to be revealed. So if you're in balance with this energy through to next year, you could be infinite creative power in balance, and out of balance, you are agitated and lacking in vision and snippy. Well, I can see your partner and you being snippy with Saturn there, or with each other, actually. And to bring yourself into balance, you need solo time alone, conscious reflection, and writing. So time alone and writing is your ally. I'll be right back. Just need a little chocolate break. Some of you guys ask me what I eat for chocolate. I like different brands, but this is from an Italian brother and sister. I love this brand. Who? Hazelnut butter dark chocolate. Oh, it's so good. And it's Jordan and Jessica, co-founders. And they said they founded to unite in ultra simple ingredients with unbeatable taste. Okay. And it's like no refined sugar, no cane sugar, no sugar alcohols, no lecithins, that kind of stuff. Really super healthy shit. Okay. I had an apple. I had the chocolate. We're going to continue going. I'm needing a nap today. I'm so tired. 2 nights in a row. Didn't sleep well. How are you guys feeling? Because I'm wondering in the comments, let me know. Is anyone having disturbed sleep lately? We had a lot of stuff going on. Stefan Burns, um, telling us about the sky. We had a lot of activity in the sky. A sun discharging plasma and stuff like that. The Schumann resonance spiking all over the place. And I don't know, like I'm recording this for Monday on August 29th, Friday, the day Pluto goes out of bounds. And the last 2 nights sleep has been really, really disturbed. Does anyone else have the same impact of not sleeping well lately? Because I have. It's been weird. And I'm the queen of sleep. Like I sleep like you wouldn't believe, guys. I don't have problems sleeping. Okay. Hello, Libra. How are you doing? Looks to me like you got a story going, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Looks to me like Saturn is giving you his last karmic lessons and support in your area of the chart that represents your work and your health. Now, he was here in 2023, like I said in the intro. You got used to him here. It could even like be working really hard. I notice my clients when they have Saturn transits for almost 3 years through the sixth house, they are the king and queen of grind. Like they are working their asses off. 2 jobs, 3 jobs, or the job they do, like it's supposed to be 9 to 5, and they're going extra time, getting in early, leaving late. They're diligent and persistent. How have you been doing if you're working, if you're of a working age, how's that been? And as well, karmic health challenges will arrive during this cycle, and then they'll go away when Saturn's gone for good, right? So there's all weird health challenges people get as well during this karmic cycle. Anything that goes wrong with your body in general, Pisces rules the feet, for example, but things with your health as well connected to karma. So health and work stories are very big. And now Saturn returns here. And by the way, pets, he's the Grim Reaper. Some of you since 23, a Libra may have lost an animal. A pet may have passed away. And this is a house of rentals. You may have been a landlord and rented a property or two. You might have been a tenant and rented tenancy rentals. Funny enough, I got a Libra girlfriend who literally had a tenant rental and had someone die in it. I mean, like it was an Airbnb rental. And that's Saturn, the Grim Reaper, in her house of landlady, rentals. So there's what you've got going. Saturn now is going to go back here, the last touchdown till next February, mid-February, about the work, about the health, about the rentals, about the pets. And if you don't have a pet, he can bring you a pet. A destined fated animal may emerge with the moon in Capricorn. There might have been something going on. You'll see the moon in the 4th house here where you wanted a pet emotionally and it wasn't available. And you're feeling a cold and emotional distance from the idea of an animal in my home. So this could be a window between now and next February to get that animal in your home, right? That's just an example. Or to finally clear up that health challenge that you've been dealing with. Or to finally find the rental that feels like a better and truer home. And that's going to happen again over the course of 6 months. Jupiter supports you working hard because if you want to do one last, it's called a charade, like CHAERT, like really blast through, like one last push in the work area. I'm going to work so hard. I'm going to like leap to my mastery and authority in the workplace. Jupiter says, yeah, raise, promotion, exposure, success, kingly, queenly leadership. You're going to like the hard work pays off. Okay. Your career and reputation go up, not down. Certainly there could even be, thank you, Vestal Flame and Juno in the 2nd house, some new amazing contractual agreements that take you to a whole another level of professional success. So that's that story. One other thing, debts. The 6th house is you can have a karmic debt or a real debt. Someone owes you money, you're indebted to them, indentured servitude here, or you owe them money, or karmically there's a debt owed to someone. I've noticed for clients over the years that when Saturn's here, people let go of relationships that are no longer needed. The debt is paid. We have come to a karmic shelf life endpoint on the expiry date on this love or friendship story. If that's true, okay, and you are ready to let go of a relationship, you need Neptune's support. You're going to roll back here October 22nd to February the 15th, at which point some of you will let go. Well, I'd say, let me make it clear. If there's a relationship that's about a debt expiry, it will likely come to a conclusion naturally with wisdom and mastery and a clear-eyed seeing, all right, between October 22nd and the end of January next year, all right, because you're going to have support from Lord Neptune as well. What does it say about this in terms of the old card draw that I have here? We are going to maximize my screen because I'm not sure if I don't maximize it, what you're actually seeing from Kim Kranz in the Wild Unknown Animal Oracle deck. And your animal is the elephant. Wow. I always love elephant energy. I think immediately of Ganesha, who removes the obstacles from our path when we need to get where we're going, but also puts obstacles in our way to redirect us. Why did I do that? Am I sharing? I cannot tell what I'm doing. I don't think I'm sharing. Sharing or not sharing? No, I'm not sharing. My screen just disappears, you know? All right, elephant. Let's take a look at Kim's delineation of the elephant in relationship to the 6th house transit of Saturn through till next February. And elephant, you are here, right here. Yay. Unstoppable. You're unstoppable. Auspicious and wise. Well, you are unstoppable in the work area with that Saturn, that's for sure. So elephant is the most auspicious figure in the deck. Like Ganesh represents immense wisdom, good fortune. Yes, you got good fortune in work and career right now, but it's hard work. It is said that the great elephant is a destroyer of obstacles. And if this card appears when you feel stuck, rest assured, the path will soon become clear. To add to the mystery, the elephant is known to create as well the obstacles in order to redirect you, basically to detour you to your correct path. Trust this gentle, noble creature as it illuminates the way with the light of self-knowledge. So I'm going to go, it's good for obstacles and reduction of them and clearing away the health challenges, for succeeding in work at new levels of success, going in the direction that the elephant gets you to move. It's really also good for the idea of relationship debts being finally paid down. Karmic debts, soul debts. When in balance, you are one-pointed, you focus, and you're generous and you're loving. And if you're out of balance in these 6 months, you will misunderstand fate. Yes, because it's the karmic indebtedness of the 6th house, where we pay off our karmic debt. We pay down the bill. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to trust. You need to trust. So if a relationship doesn't make it, for example, or your pet dies or something, I'm saying, you know, I mean, these are karmic debt endings. This is not your problem, right? This is not your thing to worry about. It's the universe doing its thing. And come on, you got the North Node of fate and destiny in your 6th house. It's expanding your work, it's expanding pets, it's expanding rental property opportunities, but it's also karmically closing out debts that you may hold with other people, especially the lunar completion eclipse in the 7th, 8th of September, working with the Saturn, is to really close out a karmic debt for sure. About relationship, most likely. All right. Next, we have the sign of, after Libra, what's always the next sign is Scorpios. And you mystics, you're kind of wild and mysterious and deep, still waters that run so darn deep. I love Scorpio people. You know, yeah, unless they sting you with their tail, but it takes a lot to get them to sting you, honestly. A good, healthy Scorpio only stings with a tail when you have got that damn Scorpio in a corner. So the energy here of Saturn in the watery place of your 5th house of sexuality, procreation, creativity, art, entrepreneurship, the muse, romantic love, your own children that you have, indicates a time of karmic closing and completions in some of those areas, but also mastery, authority, and hard work. It's an ironic placement for the artist, for example, because it means that even though you love to like draw or write or make music, right? You're also going to be working hard. It's like literally being disciplined about your creativity and entrepreneurship as well. It can mean Saturn's retrograding. You have to finish unfinished business that you were working on since 2025 around romance and sexual and romantic love stories. Certainly, if you began a relationship in those 3 years, you probably would have started out realizing this is a very karmic love story. But on the other hand, if you're in one, it kind of dampens the fun, the romance, and the sex life. It's like it takes it down like 100 notches. Okay. So if you thought you got yourself back as he left here, you know, like Saturn released himself from your 5th house at the end of May, you might think, oh no, here I go again. It's starting to feel really hard to get that romance going in my love life story. Saturn here can be hardship for your children. One of your children may be going through a time of anxiousness, fear, melancholy, sadness, or Saturnian heaviness, if you have children. And you may have noticed that your kids have had some issues since 2023, right? But it kind of let up end of May, through till now. So September 1st of this year, September to mid-February is your last Saturnian gasp. Now, Jupiter operates with the North Node here to make this a very powerful destiny story. And it can really open up a lot of energy around fertility, pregnancy, conception, you or your partner, or the birth of grandchildren in your life, okay, in the next 6 months. Doesn't mean the grandkid's born by next February, no, but you might be announcing you're pregnant, your partner's pregnant, you're going to be a grandparent. Those stories can become quite obvious to you. And one more thing about this before I draw a card, finishing up in the 5th house could be completing some series of creative projects or some entrepreneurial projects that were underway. And now you're ready to put the capstone, the final touches, the essential perfectionistic ending to all of that, like completing the book, completing the series of audio recordings, completing the screenplay, whatever you're doing. All right. So kind of completing it now, finishing it for good, because there's worldly success to be had. Yeah, why not? Because the North Node is here. And the moon is in the house of writing, songwriting, writing, music writing. Who knows what you're writing? And Jupiter can bring you international success. So there. Let's draw a card for you from Kim Kranz. Kim Kranz, the Oracle, Animal Oracle, Wild Unknown. I'm sorry, but they're all tipping out of my hands. See what I mean by the autofocus? It's crazy. Oh, in the comments below, is this a new Zoom feature or is this my MacBook Pro? I've looked everywhere in my MacBook Pro. I clicked the help button. I know I should Google it. Why is my autofocus so? I don't mind. See, it's a nice blur in my background, so I don't mind it, but it does make me dizzy. Owl. Oh, that was an interesting card. Owl. Okay, Saturn, the wise sage-like authority in the house of Dharma, a Dharma house, and the house of your natural gifts and abilities. I forgot to mention that. It's almost asking you, can you really lean into becoming the master of your talents that you were born with, of your voice, of your art, of your singing, of your scientific mind, of your entrepreneurial skill sets? Masterful authority, by the way, is Saturn. You'll get it for another 30 years, right? So Owl, here's Owl. Abundance. Jupiter in the 9th house, a lucky house, is trining the North Node in your 5th house of lottery wins. Chunky money. Saturn would be karma and destiny. So maybe you could come into some unexpected money in a positive, fortunate way. Just a few of you between September 1st and mid-February. Clairvoyant and treasures, keywords. The owl is a mysterious otherworldly creature found in folklore from the east to west. A white owl in particular in this deck is a companion of the goddess Lakshmi. Lakshmi, that's where Jupiter is. She's in your Lakshmi 9th house, flowing down to the 5th. The goddess Lakshmi, and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. Well, I can say you have destined good fortune without Saturn. Saturn says it's karmic. It's a karmic destiny. It's a meant to be, So does the North Node. All right. It's an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way. A boon or treasure is on the way, Scorpios. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma and bring abundance to the world. Trust that the wellspring of treasures is infinite. When you're in balance, you are generous, trusting, and secure in the next 6 months. Out of balance, you have money quarrels or scarcity consciousness. And to bring yourself into balance, you make an offering. What's an offering? I don't, guys, buy the homeless guy a sandwich, right? Don't give him money because he's going to spend it on drugs. Not all homeless people, of course. Make an offering to a charity. Make an offering to a church. Make an offering. More charitable we are, the more charitability comes back at us. But we shouldn't make charity like a means to an end, But there's a thing there about that. Okay, moving into the next sign. We're going into Sagittarius because that's the sign that's after Scorpio. And here we have it. So Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. How are you feeling about reality when you have this Saturn sliding back into your fourth house of home, land, property, and real estate? A lot of Sag clients felt really melancholic, sad, alone, or isolated in their home life since 2023. That I have evidence of from a lot of my clients. But it's also Saturn here about solitude can bring wisdom and sagacity. And it's really good for those of you who would have wanted to burn the midnight oil, kind of taking your time to go into more quiet and stillness, and maybe even for some of you, I like sagacity, sage-like qualities. You could also have had an elder living with you, an elder parent or in-law or some older person you're having to deal with as well in the home during this 3 years. Now, Saturn in this position will try to make something tangible and concrete, right? Especially when Neptune joins them in October. And so one way this could play out is a change of home, because the North Node in your fourth house for a lot of Sagittarius will relocate you. It only got here in January. And the North Node with Saturn and then later on Neptune in October is to make real your dream home, to change your home, to find a new home, to move to a foreign land or a foreign country with Rahu there, North Node. So there's a change of home. A lot of you might experience with Saturn support here through September 1st to mid-February. Consider that as a possibility. I don't know how you felt. Maybe on May 27th, when Saturn entered your fifth house, you might have felt you got out of jail. Like, oh my God, being home alone is not so bad. Or the elder who was in my home is now, in a old age care center or something. You would have felt like, whew, that intensity is gone. It's just back for its grand completion. And because of a Jupiter trine, it could involve shared monies with your spouse, separation and divorce of assets and property. It could involve matters to do with an inheritance coming from a family member who's really, really quite old. Because of the Saturnian element in the story. And Jupiter flowing here could also be some money coming from your spouse's family that allows for some expansion or changing of your home, but it can also be money from your father, your mother, your grandfather, grandmother, especially if they're quite old, right? Saturn. And that story is playing out here through till mid-February. You wouldn't be too bad off to finally sell a property, right? Under this energy. That could happen as well. And I kind of do want to say that it energizes your spiritual energy, your desire to find God and truth. All the moksha houses are pretty lit here. So a few of you might find yourself, discovering God, spiritual path, meditation, spiritual wisdom at a new level and new depth, the kind of karmically complete energy around those things. And to the degree to which there's been some monetary frustration or challenge, there's going to be a turning point with that as well. Okay, so where you've been feeling frugal or constrained financially, something's going to give that a big shift for you between now and February. So I do think some of you will do a significant relocation. And it tends to be that the North Node or Rahu indicates a destined change of home that's expansive and worldly success can come, but also it's kind of like the foreigner, the one who's the outsider. And Saturn is the same energy sometimes, and maybe you're going to move your home to a foreign place from where you currently live, right? Not necessarily foreign to your birthplace. Like if you're an expat, you might move back home. I'll see if my former Sag Sun husband who moved to Portugal is maybe going to change his mind. I'm not sure how happy he is playing golf by himself every day. It's the bee. I bet you the bee is about community. Don't forget, there's isolation with Saturn. In the fourth house, it's in the home. How lonely or how alone are you? Have you been, Sagittarius? Let's take a look at the bee for you. So obviously it's a flying beastie. And over the next 6 months, you need to be earnest, hardworking, and democratic. The bee personality is a delight to be around, especially if there's a team project on the horizon. Bees love to work steadily and thoughtfully until the final task is complete. They are sensitive creatures aware of many subtleties at once, since they're the artists at heart. And they usually add creative details to the overall vision. Well, that's interesting, because Saturn will be in the house of the arts and creativity, right? Starting next February. He's already toyed with it since May. So there is that creative energy as well. But also, anything to do with the word work steadily till the task is complete, that's Saturn energy. Maybe there's something you're working on in and from the home that you really know you have to get done. And this is your grand finale of persistent energy. So when you're in balance over the course of the next 6 months with the Saturn transit, you will be content, active, and vibrant. And if you're out of balance, you'll be overworked or annoyed. And to bring yourself into balance, take a mini vacation, from your home. To me, a bee is a hive animal. It works together in a community, and the home, the hive is like a collective space. I want to add my own feelings about that. I have so many stories from my clients who have this transit over the years in different signs of Saturn through the fourth house of feeling isolated or alone, anxious or melancholic, or heavy burdened home alone. So it could be also indicating it's time for more joyous interactions in more of a community that fits you in some way. Let's go ahead and do the next sign. All right. What happens if you're a Capricorn and this is your Saturn 6-month grand finale? Well, I mean, in 2023, Saturn went through your third house because people are here, and these people are your aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors, neighborhood, and also your siblings, but most particularly a sibling one younger than you, but siblings in general. Have you experienced any hardship with these types of people? Because where Saturn goes, we tend to feel constriction. And so there might have been falling outs with these people, or maybe your sibling or your neighbor had a hardship in their life and you watch them go through a time of some kind of difficulty. So don't always make it that personal. Sometimes it's just not about you. Saturn here can also indicate constriction or constraint that you experience since 23 regarding your ability to travel, to your ability to learn, or your ability to be really integrated in your local and community, and maybe feeling like the outsider, the outcast, or the solitude energy wherever you go. You don't have a local group or friendship community or a feeling of belonging. And that might have been haunting you since 2023. So I have a Capricorn person I know. They spend a lot of time kind of itinerant, moving around, moving different places, but not really having local support, friends, or community of his own, because he was living, in different places with other people. There is that sense that could be a story. I would also say if you're into writing, communicating, marketing, selling, and social media landscape, you worked your ass off. Saturn made you diligent and perseverance, hardworking. North Node says expand, grow, change your neighborhood, change your community. Fated destined shifts of where you live are probably going to happen for some Capricorns, and ending a chironic wound of belonging to a home that began to bump into you since 2019. So these can relocate you to a new city, a new community, or a new property. And with Uranus in the 6th house, likely a rental property. But if you find a property to move to before the end of September, it could also be a purchase or buy of a property. One of the things I would mention here is that Saturn in this part of the sky, in that third house, could be like to end something that has been about a type of relationship, that connection with a neighbor. But if, say, you were in a relationship where you had to travel long distance to be together, back and forth, that could be closing it out, ending and completing it. And Saturn will be retrograding here, of course, but also going direct, but he'll still be in this part of your chart through till February next year. So endings, karmic completions. Jupiter is loving the sky from the house of long-term love and relationship. It could mean a change of locale and where you live, could bring in a beautiful new, a bounteous, fruitful relationship. It could indicate an unexpected job opportunity and business partnerships that lead to a new home. If you're in an existing relationship, it's a bit more tricky. There may be a way to stabilize a new relationship or an existing relationship because of things to do with travel or location and home as well. But it's hard to say. Jupiter in your 7th house relationship, trining the North Node. Jupiter will retrograde in the fall, and Jupiter will test any existing relationships before he gives it a good housekeeping seal of approval. If you're going to have a relationship tested by Jupiter, you'll know by early next year into February whether that relationship can continue or not. So it may be still indeterminate for some Capricorns debating this storyline, especially Capricorn rising. Okay. That's what I've got for you. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a card from the Kim Kranz Animal Deck, as I have done for every sign so far. If you like this kind of astrology where I blend astrology and oracle card readings, let me know in the comments. I've got a lot of great feedback. I've been a tarot reader before I was an astrologer. I've used oracle decks and tarot cards since my 20s. I had someone troll the hell out of me about me saying that the moon is not about the people in the tarot card. And I said, no, of course it's not about we, the people in the tarot card. It's what it meant in the chart that I was reading. And I drew the moon card. So I had to actually block her from my channel. It was absolutely terrifyingly vitriol where she ended up going on the storyline. Peacock. I got the peacock. I think the peacock is strutting its stuff. Where do you want to show off? Let's see what the peacock's really about. Inner beauty, compassion, assimilator of anything. The beauty of the peacock is unrivaled. It's easy to think that it comes from the plumage, but its secret of the peacock is its beauty resides within and extends outward indefinitely. The adept creature can assimilate or digest all experiences in life, so it does not harbor resentment, conflict, or past pain within its psyche. So, the third house, right? Siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, neighbors, conflict, past pain, Saturn retrograde, letting it go. Do not harbor that stuff. It's time to release it. Just a thought. The peacock type is extremely rare. Many people have reached this advanced level of acceptance of self and other. Well, Jupiter in the house of other, right? Trining Saturn in the house of those people I talked about. There's a lot of the other energy in your reading today. When you're in balance, you are confident and kind in the next 6 months, Capricorn. When you're out of balance, you cannot digest your situations. You can't cope, basically. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to meditate on your navel. Do a little navel gazing, why don't you? All right, let's continue. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. I am one of you. Let's take a peek at our sky, shall we? We are Pluto. As September is opening, we're being extremely strategic with Athena on our Pluto and in our ascendant space. Sun, moon, and rising. Aquarius. Saturn in 23 March entered into your second house of money, earnings, resources, food style, what you put through your nose and the mouth, through the face, speech, how you speak. And he began to play with you. Because you are ruled by Saturn as our Capricorns, you're okay with it. You're not ruled by Uranus. And modern astrology won't work for Time Lord tools. Come study with me. And so you're willing to give him the baton to change up that stuff. So food restriction, you might have gotten rid of foods. I went on the AIP protocol diet. I'm Aquarius rising. I changed my diet. I got rid of nightshades. It's been a miracle for arthritis for me. It's like amazing. So yes, Saturn constrained my food, got rid of the nightshades, and I'm healthier. He's helping me try to do the wine lovers middle way to quit the wine. And also, it matters to do with one's voice. And Saturn is authority, mastery. And so I speak for a living. You could say I'm a little more authoritative and masterful than I was before 2023. You talk long enough, you get better at it. Now, money. Structure your money, save your money, conserve your money. You got me to incorporate. What happened to you, Aquarius? Is in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know. How did you handle this transit? Some people looked at their face in the mirror and said, I look so old, because Saturn is the aged one in the house of the face. What did you do about it? Did you make changes to your routine? I did. I got some new creams to try to make the wrinkles less wrinkly. I took my facial wrinkles more seriously than I had in the past. So there's a lot going on, and dental work. Saturn rules the teeth. This is the house of the face. I had to have cavities filled for the first time in my life, but I take better care of my teeth and change my health regime around my teeth. Let me know in the equipment box, the description box, how you guys dealt with this transit. Thank God I incorporated. That's Saturn. Thank you, Saturn. To help me save taxes. So all said and done, he's back. He's back for the last hurrah, September 1st to mid-February. He can help you define more authoritative, masterful speech. He can help you more improve your face and your teeth. He can help you solidify your finances to another level of success. And with the North Node here, like 2006-7, it is already indicating it's time to increase your worldly success, okay? And financial success. And now Saturn says lasting long game results in steady measured ways that are in alignment with your wisdom. And having support from Lord Jupiter in the work house and the health house means that your health is getting better through dietary changes and your work is getting more joyful and successful as you move through the next 6 months. So let's see how it feels to be us going through the story. I think some of you might partner up off of this and collaborate in some kind of work and career space with another person. That's Juno in the 10th house. Okay. Or if you're single, you might meet somebody new because of the work you're doing in the world. So, whoa, I just dropped a card. Now, I'm not going to keep that card, but it was the owl. The owl. I'm laughing because I just told you how my voice is so much more authoritative. And I just about did the old coughing online on screen. All right, you try talking this much. It's a lot of work. Okay, Kim Kranz Oracle deck. Let me expand my picture. What does it say with the Saturn last gasp in our second house in an Oracle perspective? Let's take a look. Why am I? I get it, but seriously, do we need to have like a complete close up here? Director, says the actress, you're too fucking close. Oh my God. I didn't expect the oyster. I'm not sure what it means, but it's what I got and I'm going to stick with it. I never flood the oracle by asking twice. So let's go with the oyster for us. It's funny because oysters live in the water and we have the watery Pisces sky that's activated. Okay, water, oyster. So I don't know. It's not a whale. It's not a swan. It's not an otter. Beaver, frog. I bet just one of the low-level water cards. Beaver, oyster. Okay. So for us to get through the next 6 months of Saturn's last gasp in our second house of speech, earnings, resources, possessions, and money, here's what we need to know. Keywords are patient, secret keeper, and hiding the inner treasures. The focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. In this case, it looks like money matters and work. The only problem is they often take their inner gifts for granted and become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires and life's work. So I started coughing, right? And it's the throat chakra energy of the second house of speech. So yeah, I'm wondering about that, maybe I'm being called to go back to more writing or doing straight up psychic readings or something, and I might not feel confident. That's an example. Shy and doubtful, drawing and protecting their deepest desires in their life's work. I channeled 2 books. I'm afraid to put them into the world. When the oyster card appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. If you've been hesitant to share, the world is waiting to see. I'm going to give us a piece of advice before I read the keywords. Saturn is the master and the lord of time and karma, authority, wisdom, sage-like qualities, the wise woman and wise man. If you have any, I don't care how old you are, if you have any deep authoritative wisdom to give the world as a fellow Aquarian, Saturn is giving you the last chance saloon this September through to February. When you're in balance in these 6 months ahead, you feel blessed, generous, and masterful. And when you're out of balance, you are reluctant, you're griping, and you clam up. Ask my partner about me griping about my work schedule. And to bring into balance, you need to share something. Okay. You'll notice on my channel, I started sharing my outros about mystical things, psychic things, timelines, reality shifts, Mandela effects. These are my true passions, among other things. And so maybe it's like that. I need to bring more of that to the table. Oh, sorry about the strange way this is moving. I'll get used to it. Finally, it's Pisces. Pisces. Let me know how that resonates for you guys as well. Pisces in the comments. I do read my comments, everyone. Not all of them, but as many as I can. I heart you if I read it. So Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. Clearly, I should have started with you as we hear a motorcycle without a muffler guzzling away, and I get to you. Clearly, I should have started with you. And now the sirens. So everything happens for a reason. It's loud because my windows are open and it's summer and I'm getting frost breeze. If I close my windows, it's much less loud. So if you're a Pisces, 5 alarm blaze here, pay attention. It looks to me like Saturn is giving you the last chance to become the authority, the wise man and wise woman, the sage-like quality of you that you're ready for. You are two fish swimming in different directions. You're immutable. You always have a hard time. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe you change your mind. Maybe you have competing objectives in life. Saturn isn't about that. He's like, get serious, get real, get sober-minded, and figure it out. He says, grow the hell up. Now, mutable signs, I'm not trying to diss you here, but Saturn is not very mutable. Saturn is like the boundaries, the decisions, the hard edges of something. So your discernment is Saturnian, and it's asking you, have you discerned where you're truly going to be meaningfully satisfied? As a general principle, Saturn is a natural ruler of one's career house. It's Capricorn 10th house and an Aries chart. And so what's your purpose? Why are you here? Saturn is coming back to help you figure it out, finally, at last and forever. And because he's the owner of the gains of your 10th house, your prosperity of your career, where there's a moon and a condition of her exile here, you might have been stoic and hardworking and thinking, oh my God, I can just scrape by. I got to make some money. I'm just grateful for whatever I get. It's really like that here in the sky for you right now. It's like that place that you might have gone to now and then. This is a turning point for you. And so between now and next February, it's almost ending a cycle of a little bit of scarcity, maybe around your money, your earnings, your possessions, your resources a little bit, but the chironic wound there, but also about the profitability of career success in your life. And it looks like you're going to make a shift on this storyline. Saturn was in your second house of earnings, possessions, resources, teeth, and face. And I mean, that's hardship, right? I know a few Pisces who had teeth issues, right? But it was right. I should say right. It sounds dumb. The end of May through to now, September 1st, anything to do with your teeth, especially as an ascendant in Pisces, that was a very karmic storyline. It was a karmic health challenge to your nose, your face, your throat, your teeth, right? Don't take it personally. But now that and that's also your voice, vocation, earnings, and calling, and he's back in the house, you go and say, what are you going to do in your work, your possessions, your earnings, your money, your self-esteem, your profitability, especially regarding career, because this is a chance to define it. You won't redefine this for another 30 years. It last happened 30 years ago in the 90s. So you better shape up or ship out, says Saturn. It's your time to figure it out. North Node says worldly success, attention on you, spotlight on you, succeeding, grasping for what you want, growing into your success stories. Less attention on your spouse, less attention on your audience. It's really pull the energy towards you right now. And because of Jupiter in a blessing way from the 5th house, it does favor your own personal integration towards purpose and success through entrepreneurship, artistic creativity, a real blossoming through romantic love, fortifying a new sense of profound ability to be profitable or successful. Sometimes the love of another, is that sort of the whole thing about, the woman behind the power, the woman behind the powerful man. But it's not even just that. It's like sometimes somebody's view of you and the loving you up makes you more strong in your own love of self, perhaps because Jupiter in the 5th house could bring in a new relationship in the next 6 months, or one that exists gets stronger and really fortifies a feeling of success. But that said, South Node in the marriage house is also not easy. It could take away the interest you have in the partner. It could mean the partner's going to have a health challenge. It could mean you're not that focused on them anymore. It's just not your priority. You've got to focus on you. If you're karmically destined to win money, Jupiter is in the house of good fortune connected to speculation and winning of money. He is able to witness Saturn and the North Node of worldly success, while also flowing to the Vestal Flame and Juno in the 9th house of also prosperity and wealth. And so a lot of you could have some very good financial, unexpected, perhaps, prosperity stories. And I say unexpected because, of course, we still see that Uranus is sort of flowing out of sign, but still in a way to a sextile to Saturn. Let's draw a card for you and see what we get. Kim Kranz. Am I no longer sharing? Was I even sharing? I could have been talking to myself and thought I was screen sharing, you guys. And if I did, I'm apologizing for that. If I wasn't sharing the screen, but if I'm not, wasn't, like, oh, well, just you were listening, right? Sorry. The dolphin. Oh my God. What a beautiful card for you. Another water card, a lot of water cards from Saturn's in water. What does the dolphin tell you, Pisceans of the world? Where he's going to be with, Saturn will be with you in water through till next February 14th. I think dolphin is going to be a high level energy. What do you guys think? Past the frog, right? Past the otter. I have a feeling it's way up there and like, yay, at the end of the line. Ready? Innately intelligent, healer, light, and blessings. The gifts of the dolphin are beyond what our human mind can grasp. Dolphin personalities are drawn to the healing arts. Okay, with Saturn in your house of your physical body for the Pisces ascendants, this is also really good for healing your body, okay, with sage-like wisdom. And you're sensitive to the subtle and enjoy working on the level of spirit. It's easy for the dolphin to underestimate the impact they make in the world. These creatures play an important role in the wheel of karma, that coming in contact with the dolphin type will change your entire course of your day and thus your life. This card indicates a profound blessing is on the way. I can sort of see that with the Jupiter in the luck house, okay? Good fortune, including financial. So when you're in balance, you are an active healer, strong, and you have a strong spiritual practice in the next 6 months. And Saturn is like the Himalayan cave monk, right? So you can find deep spiritual resonance with some solitude, meditation, introspection for sure. When you're out of balance, you underestimate your own power. Saturn can make you doubt yourself here. And to bring yourself into balance, you need to hang out with like-minded spirits. Find your people, find your tribe, find your community. Oh, I think I'm done. Do I have an outro for you? I do. I want to talk about something. This is not that spiritual. I just did the Jeff Mara podcast today, but yesterday I put a video out. It was my September video. And in the overview, I talked about some world events that might be quite difficult in September. And if you want to watch my September overview video, if you go see that, you'll see me redoing the intro. And I had to just cut that up and send it to Patreon and said, hey, Patreon, you guys can have the intro that YouTube wouldn't monetize it, you see. It gave me a warning, a flag that it wasn't, they couldn't modify. I was talking about things that would upset people. Now, I do a lot of that content. So when I sent it to my Patreon community, I asked them what do you guys think they were flagging? And I think most people thought it was one particular thing I said. So I want to remind you guys that when I'm on YouTube here, and when any content creator is on YouTube, we're under a very specific set of rules. And there's so many things that I would say off this platform. Like I write about it in Substack. I tell my Patreon community about it in our group classes and calls together. I share it in my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. So there are places where I'm free to like sort of unplug and be me, but not even in my members community. If I started a members community here on YouTube, and even though the content is unlisted, I don't trust YouTube's algorithmic bots to actually troll that unlisted content and also categorize me as an unsafe content creator. So understand that I have to parse half the stuff I say. And even like when I go back to the beginning of the Middle East conflict, within a week of it starting, I said things that got me in trouble that are now self-evident. Right. I could see where this was going. I started crying in my first video about it, and people called me too precious, and I could see that we were headed into this catastrophic international war crime energies to do with massive loss of life and children and starvation. All of that was understood by me. Okay. And yet by saying it the few times I did, I got punished by the algorithm. I got slammed by trolls out there. So if you want to see more of me somewhere else, please come on over and join me in the other communities where I can tell you exactly how I feel. And often, we can all collaborate on our individual feelings about this crazy world. All right. So thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This video is, so the outro is explaining where I have to cut myself back a lot in terms of what I say. And even to the point, by the way, with the world astrology videos, forget it. the algorithm hates them for me. I mean, I don't know why. It's not my brand enough. You know what I mean? Like Dan Waite's a World Astrology Report gets more traction because that's all he does. But I also do individual forecasts for you guys. And so it's like I'm trying to bifurcate my community and all of that. So please be understanding of that for the people who love the World Astrology. I'm putting it in there still, but it's not as much as I used to. And I have to be careful, but I'm still doing it. And if you really want more of that stuff, join me on other platforms where it's safer. Thanks very much. All right. Have a wonderful Saturn through Pisces storyline. I wish you the very best in the 6 months ahead. Ciao, ciao, everyone.